Well, the night is here, but the lights are not quite off because it's holiday time and we've got some Christmas lights in the background. But we are here to talk retro gaming, import gaming. This is Will from the Game Escape channel, joined as always by JayShy of Shin Megami Talks. Jay, how you doing tonight?
Tonight's pretty good. Can't complain. Got my Christmas lights up as well. Neighborhood's pretty festive about that. So you don't want to be the only house on the block without your without your Christmas lights.
Yeah, no, definitely. We were actually the only house without the Christmas lights because we had an electrical issue in the front of the house, but got
Ah,
that corrected. Lights are up, and just looking forward to having a little bit slower schedule, couple days off, and looking forward to doing some gaming.
same here.
So
Same here.
I thought we would start off just a little kind of walk down holiday memory lane and talk about the biggest and best holiday game releases,
Mm,
certainly that we remember, not necessarily our favorite personally from that nostalgia standpoint, but just kind of like looking back at consoles and games released in the holiday window and just see what we thought of them if we were in on them at a particular holiday season. So we'll start with just what we remember of big holidays, and then we'll kind of look at some lists and some data on that. So,
yeah.
Jay, what do you remember as being like a big game release around Christmas time?
For me in particular, even though I grew up in the 90s and I was born in the late 80s, I missed the tail end. I wasn't really paying too much attention to that Super Nintendo era, but I've heard a lot that it was huge. Super Nintendo was huge, but the one that I remember vividly at my youngest point was PlayStation 1, that kind of N64 kind of roundabout. I remember that.
Okay.
I remember that being insanely like crazy because this was the giant leap from, 2D 16-bit to what 3D polygons and I think virtual reality and all this stuff. So 3D was the it thing at the time. I remember holidays. I don't know if you remember this one store. It was called Service Merchandise. Do you remember that?
That one I never heard of now.
Oh, so there used to be a store called Service Merchandise. It was kind of like Macy's, almost. I remember when Macy's too used to also sell electronics as well. But I remember, walking through Service Merchandise and for the holidays and seeing a PlayStation 1 and seeing Tekken 2 for the first time and coming across games like Einhander and Fighting Force. And I was just like, and this was still around in the beat 'em up era, so Fighting Force was like the one game that I really, really enjoyed, and really wanted at the time. What about you?
And
What do you
so
remember?
when we were thinking about this topic, like the one that jumped to mind was the N64
Mhm.
release
Yeah.
because I had thought that had happened. Like when I was sort of doing my research, I was going to say like what consoles and games were released in the holiday window, which for me is November through December,
Hmm.
and I could have sworn that the N64 launched in that time because I remember like news reports, people just couldn't get them, and I talked about this in my personal histories video. I had a friend who actually got one for Christmas, and I just remember it being a Christmas console, but it was actually released in September. And it was kind of like a slow trickle, and then it became a big holiday product. So that was something that I figured had to be released later than September. And
Oh,
definitely,
I think I understand what you're saying. Okay, so
yeah.
maybe I misunderstood the question. So you mean consoles or games that were released during the holidays?
Well, yeah, that we're in that holiday, what I would call the holiday window now. Like, I think it's
S-
more of the thing these days where something comes out, like there's a lot of big releases in November, kind of leading
Okay.
into the holiday season. And certain consoles were, but it wasn't the N64. But there was a mad rush to get them, definitely.
Right, right. And I remember there was a mad rush to get the PlayStation 1 as well. But if we're talking about console releases for the holidays, the first one that pops to mind, games or consoles, is the Sega Dreamcast for me. I remember, I think Sega Dreamcast came out, what was it? Was it November? No, it's
No,
999. No, it's
no,
9. Man,
yeah.
it's not that's not the Sega Dreamcast either. What came out in the holidays?
So,
I
when I was looking at
hmm.
this, they're not necessarily retro consoles. Like, I think what happened with what we would, our retro consoles was they would do, like, a test run, or
Mhm.
they would do this N64 where, you release a few, you gauge sales, and then you have this
Right.
push, this word of mouth. So, like, I think the original Nintendo did that. Like, there was New York City was the test market
Mhm.
around Christmas time. I can't think of the year, maybe 85 or something like that. And then it kind of became the hot product the next year. Turbo Graphics did that as well. I don't think it was a big holiday product. So a lot of the things that we have nostalgia for didn't actually fall into that window. I mean, the Game Boy would be another one. Now, that came out in the summer of '89, but I actually remember people getting that for the holidays, like adults. I
Right,
remember
right.
this. I had like a really close friend, and the dad. I don't know if it was for Christmas or for his 40th birthday. It might have been for his 40th birthday. He got Super Mario Brothers 3 and a Game Boy with the Tetris pack in, so he could take it on a business trip. But if we look at things that actually released in the holiday season, I think one of the real big ones would have been the Wii.
When did the
I don't
Wii
know
come
if you
out?
So that came out in November of 2006.
I remember you couldn't find them.
It was
And in
hard to
two
find.
yeah, in 2006, I was actually working at GameStop at the time.
Okay.
So, I remember for a long time, we were getting calls, and we just had to say, "Well, no, we have no more Wiis in stock." I remember that very vividly. So,
Yeah.
that's actually a good one. It's so weird because when you talk about the holidays and console gaming, I guess it's because when we were young, we never really got video games and consoles, until Christmas or birthdays. We it's not like it is today when we have where when we had, disposable income and we were just able to buy whatever we want.
Yeah.
We always had to wait. So that I guess that's why, our memories are kind of jumbled up because, we always got consoles during the holidays.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much why back in the 80s and 90s, they operated on this kind of delayed model with maybe, that limited release. So someone would get it in your friend group, and then by the time Christmas rolled around, you were begging your parents for it. And then I think in the mid 2000s and on, there was this distinct, like, let's get stuff out during the holiday season. Like, I remember the Wii, that Christmas, it was the Wii and the PlayStation 3 because they had both come out, I would say, within the same 2-week span.
Mhm.
And so on the one hand, you had the HD masterpiece console. This, it promised media convergence. It had the Blu-ray player, like the real, like, PS3 Fat, the original one, had all of the card readers and stuff like that. Like, this was going to be the media device of the next 10 years. And then you had the Wii that was doing something completely different with the motion controls, and the controller looked like a remote control. And I remember, there were people, like, within my friend group who were really trying to decide, like, which path to take because the PS3 was very expensive. I think it launched at what,
Yeah, it
$600?
was $600 when it came out. I remember that.
Yeah. So I couldn't really afford the PS3 at that point, and I wasn't sold on the Wii, so I'm just kind of remember sitting it out and watching, and was kind of glad that I didn't jump on the Wii bandwagon because I there was a GameStop near me where I was living at the time that someone told me had them, and was like, "Do I go over there?" And I ultimately didn't.
Mm.
So I would say those are like the kind of the two modern ones. I remember there being a fair amount of hype for the Xbox 360. I remember actually watching the G4 TV. kind of intro to the Xbox
Yep.
and or Xbox 360 and seeing them kind of like come off the production line and worth every penny. It's better than gaming computers that you could buy. So that I think that was released around November as well. What about
I
games? And any games jump to your mind?
Oh, that's a tough one, man, because all the games that I ever got, especially for the eras that I really remember, I got for the holidays, so I can't even remember if they came out on those days. And only the one that kind of comes to mind is Twisted Metal on the PS1. But I don't know when that
Okay.
came out. I think that was around. I think that was a launch title, wasn't it, for the PS1?
That I
At
don't
least,
know.
at least I think it was, because I remember seeing Twisted Metal growing up a lot, and a game called Loaded. I remember seeing that, and but this was around the holidays, so I'm wondering if my memories are games that I was searching for when I was. I don't remember how old I was when that console came out. I think I was about
Hmm.
11 or 12. But I do remember seeing as a kid in the holidays, seeing Fighting Force I wanted, uh not Twisted Metal, but I remember seeing Twisted Metal, and I remember seeing a game called Tomba for a minute.
Okay.
And
Tomba
yeah,
or Tomball? It was like a fighting game, wasn't
well,
it?
not Tobal. Tobal, I think it was
Toball.
called
Okay.
Tobal number 3, I think it was called, but no, Tomba. Tomba, the dude with the pink hair. I think he has pink hair.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think it was pink hair and you eat pigs, or I don't remember, but I remember that game was hilarious when I played it. But I remember these games for the holidays, but I don't think they came out in the holidays. That's the thing. So I'm having, a scrambled memory here. Um, but I do remember around the time when the Sega Dreamcast came out, and that came out September 9, right? 99.
Yes. Yeah.
So I do remember when I didn't get that game. I did well, game. I didn't get that console until the holidays, but I do remember picking up Power Stone. I do remember getting that
Okay.
for the holidays, but I don't think that came out in the holidays. That's the thing. I remember getting Jet Gun Radio, Power Stone, and if my mind serves me correctly, it was it was a crappy. Oh, it was Slave Zero. I got Slave Zero for the holidays.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it wasn't Slave Zero X, that cool game that we play on the Switch and PS5. It wasn't that one. But yeah,
Alright,
I do
that's
remember. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I tried to, like, do some research and figure out, like, what really, really popular consoles came out in the holiday window, like, just looking at kinda, like, their lifetime sales, and, PlayStation 4 was also released in November of 2013, and I actually remember I pre-ordered it. It was one of the few times that I actually, like, pre-ordered a brand new console, and I
Mhm.
remember I took off a day of work and I sat there and I played whatever the Killzone game was that
Mhm.
they released, which actually was a pretty impressive title, and I streamed it to test out its streaming capability, and I did that on the channel, and I think that video is still up, interestingly. So I was in on that one definitely. Another one that I didn't realize came out in the holiday window came out in December of 2020, and that was Cyberpunk 2077.
Did that come out during the
And
holidays?
I think so, yeah. At least that's what I
That's
found
interesting.
online.
Nice.
And I kind of actually recall because it was, if you remember, plagued with terrible bugs,
Yeah.
and everyone was furious about it. And I had gotten a new graphics card. I can't remember what kind, but it was one of the early ray tracing graphics cards, and I played it, and I didn't really have a problem with it at all. It was like whatever specs I had in my computer were listed as the targeted specs.
Mhm.
And I don't really particularly love the game, but I did play it over that holiday season. Um,
Mhm.
anything else as I'm kind of
Let me
like
ask you a
going
question.
through?
Does
Yeah,
does November count as the holiday season? Like November?
for me it does.
Okay.
I
So I was right. Twisted Metal in the long box came out November 5th, 1995.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
that
I
I
didn't
do
think that was
remember
launching.
that. I do remember I remember seeing that game for the holidays. Twisted Metal does it's not a holiday game, but I do remember playing it around Christmas time. So that's probably why. Yeah, so it came out November 5th, 1995, but only the long box version came out
Okay.
1995. The PS1 version, uh the greatest hits came out. I'm assuming it's years later.
Yeah.
So,
Looking, and
yeah.
another one that I was definitely in on, Skyrim came out in November of 2011,
Okay.
and I loved Oblivion. I've talked about that before, so I was there day one on PC and definitely put in some hours over the holiday break. Halo 2, I don't know if you remember the hype around that. That was a pretty hyped game.
Yes. No, Halo 2 was super hype. I told you the story. A bunch of kids that I knew in high school, I think it was high school, just dropped out for that game.
Wow.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
I think the dropout rate for Halo 2 was enormous when that game came out. He has 2 guns now. Like, okay.
Yeah, not exactly where I could see skipping school, but dropping
Man.
out.
Yeah, dude, people were well, kids then were this is around the age of, Unreal Tournament, Quake 3 Arena. So when Halo came out, it was like, oh, you can play those games, but now you don't need a PC to do it and have LAN parties. We can just do it on the screen. So everybody was trying to get better at the game. Yeah, people stopped going to school for that game.
Wow, that would
At
be
least people in
interesting,
my
like,
school did.
hey, it would be a cool, like, mini documentary.
Yeah.
Like, what effect did this have? Did it not matter at all? Did it put them on this horrible path for the rest of their lives?
Oh
I
man.
don't know. But as I was doing this little research here, I was shocked to learn that the biggest selling game to ever come out in the holiday window, at least according to Google searches and AI queries,
Mhm.
and that game was Minecraft, November of 2011.
Why is that not shocking?
Oh, actually, it's got a is did it Minecraft I thought Minecraft came out a little bit earlier than that. Is it
Did
really?
I remember Minecraft being a huge thing in 2010? 2011 maybe?
Yeah, maybe this was, it was, because if you Google it, right, it says it was formally released on that date for personal computers
Okay.
after its initial, launch, which I guess was 2009. But it's surprising because it claims, if you look at some of the sales numbers that at least, you could find in the Wikipedia article, it claims to have sold over 350 million copies.
I believe it.
And it
I
has
definitely believe it.
140 million active players, monthly active players, at least as of 2021. But this
Mhm.
is going to show you how old I am. I thought Minecraft was free.
Mm, no,
I thought it was like
each
and then you would just buy items or
no,
different.
each time that I've played it, I think I've paid for it.
You've paid for it, okay? Because I remember buying it.
Yeah.
I got it on the PlayStation 3 because I wanted, like, my thing about if it's like a digital game, but it has a physical release.
Yeah.
I'll pick it up. What are your thoughts on Minecraft? I never really got into it.
It's a super addictive game. I had it for the Xbox 360. I think like a nephew of mine, he really wanted me to try it. And I remember trying it and I it became somewhat addicting because the amount of exploration in that game is astonishing. I've heard that it's more now, like the way you go to other dimensions and all this stuff. When I played it, none of that stuff existed. It was just kind of, monsters here and there at nighttime, and you get to dig deeper and deeper and deeper. But I enjoyed what I did. I basically just built one house, had an underwater like library with glass and stuff, and I built what I wanted to build and never played the game again. Um, but I did have fun with it. I won't lie. I find it intriguing.
Okay.
It's there was another game that came out that was sort of like it, but I found that game more fun. It was a game called Terraria. I think that's what it's called.
Yes, yes, I did. I played more of
Let's-
that.
Yeah, I enjoyed that a bit more only because of the stupid outfits you can get, and it really feels like you're becoming like somewhat of like a digger superhero. It's weird because the more you dig down into the planet, you start finding more minerals, and you eventually become like a character that looks like Iron Man with rocket boots. And I thought that was fun. Playing that with my friends was fun. But ultimately, I just kind of just I mean, once you put like, a few hundred hours into a game, you don't really want to play it anymore.
Yeah, yeah, and I feel like I've spent more time in games that were inspired by it, like
Yeah,
Dragon Quest Builders was one that,
yeah.
admittedly, I didn't spend a
Damn,
ton
you
of
remind me.
time with.
I have to add that to my wish list. Actually, thank you. You reminded me.
And then there was a Steam game, I believe it was called Portal Knights,
Never
that
heard
was
of that one.
also heavily, I think, heavily influenced by Minecraft, which was really enjoyed that game. Never really played it. I don't know. These games are like you said, they're fun in short bursts,
Hmm.
but I can't put hours and hours and hours into them.
Yeah, I think like if you set yourself with a goal, right, and then you kind of play it and meet that goal, you're kind of like, oh, okay, I've kind of see what this game has to offer for me. I like this, but to I didn't have the time to really try and like explore the world like a lot of these kids do. They have more time than I do, but it does look interesting. I will give them that. That's for sure.
Well, so that's kind of our walk down memory lane as far as like big holiday gaming and console releases. So I figured what we could do now, as we sort of bring, move through this last episode of 2025, is just answer some questions. We had a couple questions on the Discord, on YouTube, and a lot of topics that I thought were, would make for a good discussion.
Okay.
So I'll start with one that actually I posted, and I was curious to know your thoughts, and that is like,
Mhm.
has there been a game feature, which I mean is just like a standard feature built into many or most or all games that you've never used? Something that is just there for you, but you just never bothered to use it.
Give me an example.
So someone, it might have been Apollyon or Mulch on the Discord said,
Okay.
like the colorblind settings, they're kind of
Okay.
baked into a lot of games, and they're there for all of us. We could just toggle it on and off. And they said like, hey, we don't need it, so we never used
The
it.
the only one I can think of off the top of my head was the cell shading option in what's the Gungrave game? What's
Oh
the
yeah,
latest
yeah.
one that came out? What was that one?
Oh, I can't
Gungrave
think of it.
Rage? Was it called
Yeah,
that? Rage,
some,
something like that.
something like that. Yeah.
Um, that that game has a feature where you can put the game in like a cell shade where it's supposed to look like Jet Grind Radio. I've never used it. I no, I okay, no, I take that back. I've turned it on, looked at what it looked like, and immediately turned it back off, and I never used it ever since. But I know that option does exist. Another option that I never use is in Fire Emblem games is the permadeath option. I never use that either.
Okay.
Cause the way I play tactical RPGs is I always use a lot of my characters like pawns to get to my ultimate goal, so I don't want them to permanently die, because I know they're going to die with the way I play. So I don't want them to die permanently. I just want them to lure somebody in, get them into a position that I want them to be in. If they get killed, they get killed, but they just leave the battle instead of immediately just dying on the spot.
Yeah,
So I
that's
don't
that's actually a good one.
yeah, I don't use permadeath feature. That's
I've
probably my big one.
played, and I can't recall which Fire Emblem it was, but I did a playthrough with or without permadeath, and I
Mhm.
do agree with like people who say like permadeath really makes you invested in every single move. I agree
Yeah,
with that.
yeah,
However, I just don't have the time to like, dwell on these games
yeah,
and really, really worry. So if I play them, I do switch it off.
yeah.
I was thinking for myself, like the first one that came to mind would be sort of online multiplayer, but I have used that. I don't use it a lot, but I have played
Mhm.
online games. And then I thought trophies or achievements.
Yeah.
I've never cared about them. I know they pop
Never
up
cared
on the
about 'em either.
screen.
Yeah.
I don't know what the purpose is of them, but I suppose I'm using them by virtue of playing the game.
Mhm.
Like, I don't think you have a choice to turn them on and off, and so they kind of accrue, and I guess they're attached to your gamer handle, and, like, I don't know, the people who have all the achievements in every game, like, do they get something? Like, what is the reward?
Well,
Not sure. Not
trophies
sure.
are kind of like a I understand. Like, I'm not a trophy guy either. Like, I don't really care for trophies, but I can understand why people do them. It's just kind of like that extra thing of like this achievement that's for me, like, oh, I did this, I got this trophy. Um, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it's added to like your gamer score or something like that. Like for some people, that kind of stuff that really matters.
Okay.
People like having a gamer score. Like it's kind of like, back in the day when you would go to the arcade and you would see your name on the leaderboard and you'll go there a week later and then there'd be a new guy at the top and yours got bumped down the bottom, like, just right below the new guy. So you have to go in and try to beat that score. That's the way I kind of see it. It's kind
Okay.
of like that. It's just like self achievements.
But
I
I
think
feel
those are cool.
I feel like now though that they've cheapened them out because I mean sometimes it seems like these things are popping up for the most basic actions, like
Yeah.
you press left, congratulations. It's like I
Yeah.
don't know, but
I've
I
seen
can't
I've
credit.
seen one I've seen one that was really bad was I'm not gonna lie. The one that pops in my head that I can remember was pretty hilarious, but I remember people were talking about it is when you play what's the game? Lollipop Chainsaw. Like you get an achievement for looking up her skirt. I thought that was hilarious. I thought that was
Well,
funny. If you tilt the camera and like the game gives you an achievement for that. I thought that was funny.
imagine if you're one of the achievement hunters and like you didn't know that one existed. You're looking for that final achievement. That's
Yeah, that's the
that's
one.
nuts. So, but
That's
here's the one for me that when I thought about this, I was like, I think this is the perfect answer for me.
mhm.
I have never used tape mode in a shmup.
Like isn't that's tilting the camera vertically,
Well,
right?
yeah, like where and I
Okay.
think what
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
meant to do is like turn your television,
Right.
like put your TV on its
Is
side.
it is it Tate or Tate?
Tate maybe.
Am I thought I never knew what it was, so I just always just
See,
called it Tate mode.
Tate mode, Tate mode, Tate mode. Uh, yeah, you know, there's a 50% chance, right, that one of us is going to look like a fool. Probably me. You're probably right that it's Tate, but I thought it was like rotate, so I always thought it was Tate, like
Yeah.
rotate your
Oh,
screen.
yeah, you're right. Ah, that's good. That's a good one. I like that.
That's how but
You've never used it not once?
yeah, because I never like when I was younger, right, I only had one TV,
Okay.
and I didn't want to like the CRT like put it on its
Oh,
side,
well, yeah. Oh, that makes
you
sense.
know,
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
because I was like, if I and I don't know if that's bad for it or not, but I was like, I'm not going to get another one, so I'm not going to risk it. And then, like, even with the HD TVs now, I mean, they're either anchored to the wall or it's just inconvenient.
Very,
Uh, and
very.
I guess maybe like I have one computer monitor that has that adjustment, but I've never tried it. So
I think I have way too many shmups that I have to use it. The only problem is that,
how do you use it? Like what?
so a
How
lot
do
of
you
the time,
rotate the TV?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Most of my shmups are on the Switch, right? Um, there's an attachment that I bought from a website. I don't remember what it's called, but it's an attachment that you can put on the back of the Switch, and even if you like damn, I forgot what it's called. It's like monkey something, or I think that was the website. But you put it on the back of the Switch, and if you tilt the Switch, it automatically switches the game to the Tate mode. I thought that was cool. Um so
Okay,
it's
interesting.
just like that, but I know but to do it docked, I don't have anything like that. I don't have a
Okay.
single monitor that can rotate 180 degrees. No, what is that? 90 degrees? So,
Mhm.
I mean, both of my
Yeah.
TVs are too big.
So that's I've got to try that at least once while
Yeah,
I'm
try I would give it a try. I think once you try it, you'll never go back, to
okay.
be honest with you.
I'm trying on this on the I'm gonna look up this thing on the Switch. Um, all right. So the next question comes to us from a Discord member, Strife90, and he asks, um, "Do you think the prices of games will continue to decline in the next 5 to 10 years? Do you think collectors will abandon physical games and run to trading cards or manga?" Kind of
That's an interesting
interesting.
question.
Yeah,
Um,
and he's talking about retro prices here.
so I think what's going to happen, and this is just my perspective, I'm not saying that this is going to happen verbatim. I'm just trying to look at it from the perspective of human nature, right? So the people who are already in, who have a passion for video game collecting, nothing will really change. But we've seen the biggest change with people who got into the hobby because it was a trend. We've seen those people kind of like slowly fither out and go away, or they'll go to like a different hobby. Um, those people usually tend to go, they usually tend to attach themselves to the thing that's trendy. Um, and we've seen it like if you look at the amount of collectors in 2016, I would say 15 around that time, compared to those exact same collectors that are here now, a lot of them are gone. And they're gone because the trend kind of died out, right? Um, but as for the prices going down, I see it's weird because in my head, I kind of see them going down only because what I think is going to happen is kind of what we spoke about before is like there are certain generations that are going to have the spike, right? So like right now Genesis is really cheap. Super Nintendo is kind of going down a bit because those crowds already got what they wanted, so there's like zero demand for those things now. And those people are kind of getting up in that age where they can't really focus on that. They have what they have, they're going to keep what they keep. Now, if you're asking about PlayStation 3 going forward, that stuff is going to go up because we haven't reached that nostalgia phase yet, you know? Um I don't know. Do you kind of agree with me here? Or am I on the right track? What do you think, Will?
I think so. I mean, I think there's the cycles of nostalgia, and I mean, Super Nintendo was untouchable, what, 8 9 years ago, and
Yeah,
now,
like
it's
2015, 2014, 16. Yeah, it was around there.
yeah.
So I
So I think you're right. Like Xbox 360, PS3,
yeah.
PS4, maybe. We're entering that territory.
Yeah, I think
Um,
PS4 is definitely going to go up. Switch is weird because I mean, we spoke about this before, is that there's too many games on the Switch. And I was actually thinking about this before. What I think is going to happen, especially when it comes with in terms of the Switch, I think first party Switch games are going to spike. Everything else is going to stay the same. I think it's going to be $20 here, $30 there. I think what's going to happen is um all the other games are going to be looked at kind of like as shovelware, you know? And all of the first party stuff is going to be the premium stuff that everybody knows. You know, your Zelda, your Metroid Dread, what else? Super Mario, all of them. Doesn't matter. It's got Mario's face on it. That stuff. Donkey Kong, Kirby. Those things are going to spike in price. Even though there's hundreds of them out there. But everything else that is kind of like niche and hard to find, I think that it's just gonna be hard to find. Like no one's not gonna be looking for those games because no one has nostalgia of those games.
Hmm.
Mostly, I think people are gonna have nostalgia for the first party stuff. That's just my take on it because, like, I'm looking at it from the perspective of as of like, okay, let's say this is the '80s, right? My parents and I'm like a 6-year-old, 7-year-old kid. My parents are not gonna buy me Slave Zero X. They're gonna buy me Mario. And I'm gonna build a nostalgia for Mario. I'm not gonna build up a nostalgia for, Zero X or Deal Field Chronicles. You know, that kind of stuff that is like super niche. You know it's gonna be hard to find. Like my parents are not gonna buy that for me. They're gonna buy me what they think I want, which is Mario, Donkey Kong, Kirby. You know, that stuff is gonna be really expensive in my viewpoint. But that's just me. That's my thought of thinking. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I would also wonder though, like I think a lot of it is driven, as I've said before, by social media, right?
True. Very
And
true.
the kind of whatever the trend, the nostalgia trend is on social media. I mean, you've covered it on the podcast, on the Discord, just like young people wanting to disconnect and these
Yeah.
Gen Z people turning away from the digital life and finding nostalgia for things like the PlayStation 2 and
Right.
I don't know, portable CD players and flip phones and things like that. So I think that's hard to predict and that's going to drive a lot of the prices.
For sure.
But yeah, I mean, I want to believe that the nostalgia will continue. Like, I don't know that we've hit. See, I've always thought there was going to be like second wave social media driven nostalgia for these things. Like, we had the whole angry video game nerd era, which drew people's attention to NES, SNES,
True.
Genesis, things like that. What is the second level going to be? Because these games are out there, they're playable, the physical media is out there. Is that second wave going to make those games more expensive because 10 years from now, 15 years from now, they'll be even harder to find.
I
I think the other alternative is that people aren't going to care at all. Life will progress or decline in ways that make physical media consumption meaningless. Those are
yeah.
the two poles. I don't think we're heading to either. There's going to be probably something in the middle there.
I think so. I kind of want to go back to that point you were making with the angry video game nerd, and I sort of agree with you with that. That viewpoint is because I feel like when angry video game nerd started making his content, it did put a spotlight on like collecting as a kind of a thing. But the I guess seeing with hindsight is that when you look back, not hindsight, but retrospectively, looking back at that, there was like a different kind of demographic that was going on because YouTube was new. He put out his stuff on YouTube, and we never seen anybody like James Rolfe before. Whereas like, oh, it's this angry guy who plays Nintendo games. Like that's an old console, but he got everybody to look back. He was the only one doing that, and then he had copycats. We don't have that now. Now too many people are doing the same thing. So I like when you have too many people doing the same thing, it can kind of get stale. And I what I would like to happen is that you have someone who makes video game content like he did. You would have to focus on something. You just can't pick a bunch of different things. Like he focused on Super Nintendo or he and then no, not Super Nintendo, regular NES. He focused on that and then he kind of what he was doing was he started doing like caricatures where he'll pick Roger Rabbit or he'll pick Spawn and do all the Spawn games and then he started getting creative with how he was doing it. I don't think there's anyone that's going to be able to do that as of now, because too many people right now are making too many videos about things hoping that they'll blow up, you know? And it makes it not unique anymore. But that's
Yeah, I
just
could see that. I think, you know, I wanted to attach a related question to
sure.
this because
Wait,
it is.
did we answer the last question, the last part of that question? I think it was like 2 or 3
Oh,
parts, right?
we did not say. Well, I mean, to a degree. I mean, his last point was, do you think collectors will abandon physical games and run to trading cards and manga? And I think you were saying that, you know, there's a type
I
of collector, right? That's going to go after whatever's
Yeah.
trending.
What's going to happen is that you're going to get those. Okay, so the people, to answer that question really quickly, and this is me, I'm not saying that you agree with this. This is my thought. The people who got in who didn't really have a love for collecting video games, they just got in because it was a trend. They're going to sell their collections because they're going to tell people that they're getting into something else, whether it be Pokemon, miniature painting, Warcraft 90K, whatever it's called, 40K. Like they're getting into something different that's kind of trendy. Um, it but the original diehards who love this, they're going to stay. They're going to stay even if it gets hard. Like, I mean, even look at us. It's hard to import gaming, but we still import.
Yeah, we don't do it as
We don't
aggressively.
yeah, we're not as aggressive, but we still do it.
Yeah, well, I totally agree with that point. Like, to me, I could never see myself collecting manga. It just doesn't have that same appeal.
But yeah, book collecting is very different. I collected
Yeah,
manga for a little bit, but that's only because I was really into comic books. So but I slowed down because I have to pick and choose, and my first love is video games.
yeah, and you know, like trading cards. I don't know if they were talking about like the Pokemon cards, but you know, for me, I mean, the first thing I collected was sports cards, and I
Yeah, I remember.
still,
Yeah.
yeah, I still buy them from time to time, but it doesn't fulfill me the way games does.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
game collecting does. So that I totally agree with that point. But it's funny because you were talking about, you know, importing, and so I had a kind of a question in a similar vein. Is do you think that import games that are currently in the United States will
Mhm.
they become more expensive or less expensive now that we have this tariff situation where there is a significant cost to getting things directly from Japan?
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I actually thought about this. I've been thinking about this actually for a minute, for a little bit of a while. I actually think that Japanese games, they have a different flair to them, right? It's going to definitely become a niche of popularity because people are going to get to a point where they see okay, remember when we were talking about how humans are tribalistic? Like they're always going to pick a side no matter what. That's why you need competition in the game industry. I think that eventually what's going to happen is that people are going to start looking for any type of game that has anything anime on it. I think we're going to flow into that market because there's so little of it. There's not, and especially in the game industry right now. If
You're talking
things
about in the United States.
in the United States,
Yeah.
like there isn't much of it. There's mostly, drab, dark, gloomy. Like we have tons of games that have the same exact cover, and I think people are going to start looking for things that remind them of Japan in America. And I do think that the Japanese version of something will become more sought after if this continues. And it's only I I don't think it's going to continue with the whole tariff situation. I think it eventually is going to get better because I mean the world runs off, commerce and, worldwide exporting and importing. But I do feel like it, if a game has a Japanese look, like there's going to be a new kind of collectible market that looks for that. And I'm not gonna
Interesting.
lie, I think that we I think that you and I are gonna be the root cause of that. Because I
Well,
haven't
I
really
love it.
it's either gonna be you, me, or Jay Contra, or, what's the other 2 guys that, like, they have channels in Japan, but there's 2 of them. I think one is called he used to be called Kid Shoryuken. He changed his name, and there was another guy called Scruffy RGB. They walk around Tokyo and they look for games. I'm starting to notice that their view counts are going up. They're going higher and higher and higher. So people are starting to look at these games. And the other thing is games, put it like this. Do you A lot of people, including us, we buy games because we want to play it, but we also look at the covers. I mean, we can't get around that. We do.
Yeah.
If a cover looks better in another country, we're gonna buy that cover. Mostly it's never the EU. They never, even though it looks the same as like a Japanese cover, because it has that giant Peggy logo, it just makes it look horrible, and we take that into consideration. I was looking at I was on limited run games the other day and I saw the front cover to Clock Tower. Did you see the front cover to that game for limited run games
Uh,
compared to
yeah,
Super Deluxe?
well, I didn't see the Super Deluxe, no.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what it is. So the limited run cover is like this weird drawing of, I forgot her name. I think it was like Alice or something. I don't remember the lead
Yes.
character's name. It's like
Yeah.
her looking very terrified in this weird American styled anime. Like she just looks really scared and it's kind of off-putting. But then
Oh,
if you
yeah,
look at the Japanese cover, it's like a water painting of her in
yes.
stone. Like it's just a way better cover. Like I bought that cover. I had a choice to buy either one. I paid the extra like 5 or 10 bucks for the Japanese cover because it just had a better cover. I think we're going to run into that vein of thinking at some point where people are going to start buying a certain region because the art is better and because it has anime on it. I think it's only a matter of
Oh,
time. That's just my way of thinking, but I think it's coming.
interesting. Yeah,
I don't know. What do you think?
I think it could go a couple of different ways. I mean, of course, I hope that we're the catalyst to get people more interested in this stuff. Um, but yeah, I mean, I it's the prices I think will inch up a little. I mean, of course, it can't be more than the price of the item with a tariff. But I
Yeah.
do think the kind of the good old days of you and I going on to, finding our sources and just getting shipments every week, like that level of collecting, I think will die. I mean, you'll never be able to get those kind of prices again. I when This is long before I knew you. I would look for U.S. sources, and there was a shop up in I think Massachusetts, and that's where I got a lot of my Dreamcast or my Saturn games, and they
Okay.
were dirt cheap because who wanted these things? I don't know where
Right.
the guy got them, but I'm sure he got them for about 50 cents a piece, and he was selling them for $7, $8. Maybe with shipping, you get a game for 10 or 12, and it was great. 10 or 12 bucks. I'd try a handful every so many months. Um, I think that time is over. I could see there being a boom actually with AI. I've always believed that at some point someone is going to put out something that looks like the RetroTink 4K, and it's going to
Mm.
be an online connected, maybe Linux based translation box where it's going to read everything in an HDMI feed and using internet and AI translate it instantly. And
That'd be
I think
interesting.
RetroArch has this feature. I could never get it to work. Of course, I haven't tried it recently, but like they had it built in 3 or 4 years ago.
Mhm.
Now, of course, that was all in emulation, but I mean, I think it's going to be like take any console you want. As soon if you can get an HDMI feed into it, we're going to be able to live translate basically every screen. And I think if that happens, that is going to really open up the floodgates and make people really want these import games because now you're going to be able to play everything. You can play the visual novels, you could play things like the Kombini, you can, you know, retro will be open. The Japanese retro scene will truly be open when there's no language barrier. So in that case, I think the prices are going to go up.
If that
I'm
happens,
not,
definitely.
yeah,
Definitely if that happens.
I'm not totally convinced that the tariffs will ever go away because, not to get too political, but I mean, it is kind of a sales tax by another name.
Correct,
So
yeah,
while they
yeah.
may not be whatever they are in Japan now, what was it, 15%, 20%, something like that? Um, there may be a 10%, 8%, something that we're always going to have to pay. There may be no reinstatement of the de minimis exception that we've been using, to fill our
You mean
collections.
that we've been abusing?
Yes. So I think, for that reason, people who are in the U.S. and have big collections, if they ever did try to sell it, I mean, there's value in saying, hey, I can get this Japanese game from, I don't know, from Ohio versus from Osaka.
Mm.
So, but the passion has to be there, the desire has to be there. So I hope you're right that people will want those, the different cover art, the different, the different kind of vibe that Japanese games give off. So, hope we answered Strife's question. The next question that came in was from Apollyon, kind of reacting to some comments on the YouTube video, the segment that we did with him, and he basically just said he'd be curious to see us talk about game preservation,
Oh, yeah.
and that's a huge topic. So I
Yeah.
figured maybe we can narrow it down because I think what his point and his uh, that video brought up was there is a distinction between game preservation and physical media preservation. At least I think,
Right, yeah, yeah.
and I think that was the whole discussion was definitely about the physical media side of it. Um, how do you how do you see it? Like game physical media preservation, is that going to be on the forefront of people's minds, or was that just something that scared us because we invested so much time and money into building a physical media collection?
I mean, I think it's 50-50. Because yeah, it scared us because a lot of us did invest, but at the same time, I feel like it also scared some people because a lot of people believe in the history of these things, you know? A lot of people want to share the history of these things. Some individuals don't have kids yet and they want to share it with their kids in the future, you know, so that they can share it with their kids. People are looking at video games, and which I kind of understand. They're looking at them as kind of like history books, you know, they're books that you can always go back and read and, you know, show to somebody that never knew this existed. A lot of the old games that I have, I never knew it existed until I started doing, you know, my own research. Especially with some of the games that you have in your collection, you know, like I remember watching your videos and seeing something like you know, some of the PC Engine stuff and I was like, "Oh man, got to get my hands on that." You know, it would be it would be horrible to lose that part of history, you know, just because of, you know, greed and, you know, they want to get they control because it kind of feels more of like a control thing. Like they don't want people having access to this because they want to be able to sell it to you later again.
Yes.
Um, but I look at it as I media and video games I me or it's in the same kind of window for me. Um they're all they're content that holds historical value that people want to go back and look at.
Yeah. And I mean, I think your point is well taken. I mean, I kind of see it as companies do not want you to be able to entertain yourself. And if you had a big physical media collection, whatever it is, you'll be able to do that. It's kind of like going off grid with entertainment, right? I don't need the
Right.
internet to be entertained if I have this big collection. I think it's interesting. Like the chat that happened on that YouTube video brought up 2 points a lot that kind of stuck with me. One of them was, "Hey, don't worry about it as long as your games are climate controlled and
Yeah.
in a dry environment, you should be fine."
Yeah.
And, it brought up, like, not that I ever thought of that consciously, but yeah, you gotta keep your games, uh, in a setting where they're not going to be exposed to extreme temperatures, extreme humidity. It hit me, I think I talked about this on a previous episode after we moved into this house, and we had a water issue in the basement, which
Hmm.
didn't get anywhere near my games, but it's kinda like, "Oh, maybe the basement, bunker is not the best place to store video games." Uh, the other thing that came up is a lot of people said, "Oh, well, it doesn't matter. You need to get some kind of a mod for the Switch, which would allow you to dump games."
Oh, the MIG
And
switch. Yeah, but that
the
I think Nintendo got rid of that.
they did?
Yeah,
Okay.
the MIG
Yeah.
switch, I think, yeah.
So, and I don't, I mean, I think a lot of the people on that chat were saying it was more or less like it only worked with one variant of the
Mhm.
Switch, one of the earlier ones. But yeah, I think not only physical media preservation, but game preservation itself has always relied on subversion. And is there a way to come up with a mod like that against the wishes of Nintendo and get it out there? And I think there, as you just said, that's being restricted. And I think companies probably see it in their best interest to really go after emulation, to go after tinkering, to go after even companies like Analog, who were making versions of their old consoles.
Yeah.
So the degree to which we could subvert sort of business norms and the economic best interests of these companies will also kind of determine that. And that's the threat, right? Because emulation is there for everyone, right? Like no one really needs just to play the games, to experience the history of gaming. You don't really need a huge investment in physical media and physical hardware. But if that goes away, then we're in trouble.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, video game collecting is going to turn into some sort of black market.
Yeah. Well, I think we did a thumbnail this year or last year of like us as two, old men in an
Oh, yeah.
alley in Akihabara.
We're in
Come
an
on,
alley.
kids. Yeah.
Come buy these games. That was a cool
But
picture.
yes. See, I mean, AI can be funny sometimes.
Yeah,
That's
it can be. Yeah.
I couldn't have drawn that myself. Definitely. The next question I wanted to pose to you. Now, this wasn't something on our Discord, but I just wanted to get your take. I was on the Nintendo Switch collectors Reddit a couple weeks ago, and there was a guy who more or less said, "Hey, I just had my second kid. I have this massive collection of Switch games, and I'm sitting here and thinking, like, did I waste my life? Could I have done something smarter with my money?" He's like, "I don't have any financial problems. Everything's great, but when I look at this wall of games, was this a good decision?" And a lot of people told him, "No, it's a bad decision. Pare it down. Keep only the games you want to play." And I thought that was kind of an interesting response. So I wanted to get, because we're two guys, I mean, you have your kids, and
Yeah.
I've certainly looked at my wall of games, and it has occurred to me that perhaps I've gone a little crazy. Where where
Yeah.
where do you fall on that question?
Definitely crazy. I'm I've gone crazy. But like I said, I kind of look at them almost as the same vein as someone who has too many books. Um, but he he bought these games because these are probably games that he wanted to enjoy, that he wanted to play. He has a like you can tell him to pare it down, but at the end of the day, I think it's one of those things. It's like, well, why don't you just keep what you have? Why don't you just stop buying? You know, you have a huge library. Just play through those, slowly and slowly until you get through all of them. Now, what you really can do is he has a second kid. So what you have, you can actually share with your kid if they grow up to be into that kind of thing. You guys can go on that journey together. You don't have to sell your stuff. You can keep it to the side. Now you can, if you feel like looking at it has become somewhat of an eyesore. If you feel like, oh, this is just taking up too much room. If you start having thoughts like that, then yeah, get rid of it. But I feel like if you have to turn to a group of strangers to help you in a decision about selling something that you probably enjoy, I feel like that's a bigger issue. Why you talk to, I feel like you should talk to your friends, or you can talk to, the mother of your kid, find out, because I was in that situation too, remember? Like I was really thinking about selling the Switch games because of the issues that we came up with. And it was my wife who literally said, "Why sell them? Just keep what you have and enjoy it as entertainment." You know? That was her. She said that. So a lot of the times, a lot of people, they don't know you. So if you come across people who do, ask them that question and they can guide you into a kind of different way, is my way. So if it was me, I would just say, just slow down on the buying and just play what you have.
Yeah, it's funny. I think that there's this sort of inherent guilt that people feel who do have like big collections of
Yeah.
objects
Yeah.
and spend money on that. And I don't think like you would say the same thing to somebody who's like a golf addict and travels
Right.
around the world playing all the big golf courses and probably wasting a multiple of what we spend on video games. I just think there's the visual of the person who has hundreds or thousands of one thing that
Mhm.
kind of disturbs people, and then you sort of internalize that guilt. And I feel like if you look at it from a um, purely economic perspective or human capital perspective, any expenditure of money, if it doesn't boost your financial standing, your cultural capital, is a waste. Like if you just like to travel, if you spend
Mhm.
$15,000 every year on a vacation and you just go somewhere and sit on the beach and enjoy a cocktail, um, that's not a productive use of money.
I
But
which I agree. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, but we don't shame those people for that. It's like, oh, great, you
Yeah.
love to travel. Um, So I think, yeah, I mean, doing anything that doesn't if you're in that mindset, doing anything that doesn't improve your sort of financial or social standing could be seen as a waste. But I think we feel that more than the average person.
Which is true, but I guess one of my things is this, is that, like, if I were to meet this person, right, and we were to talk, like, one of my core questions to that person is, all right, you're gonna sell this, right? It's like, yes. Do these things make you happy? Like, do they bring you some sort of joy? Like, why would a person, right, sell something that makes them happy? Like, I understand that some people would look at that as, oh, you don't need this, you have other things to make you happy. Well, how would you know that? What makes you happy? Do you sell things that bring you joy? And a lot of people will probably say yes. And then my follow-up is, well, why? Why are you selling this? Oh, well, I need this. And it's like, that's fine. That stuff will probably come. But the one of my biggest quotes that I remember hearing, I don't remember where I heard it, but what's that quote? You probably know. You probably watch movies. It's probably from a movie. It's called "I'm here for a good time, not a long time." So it's
Yeah.
like enjoy what you have because you're not here forever. I mean, you will make money. Like a lot of the times you'll go to work, you'll always make money. But to find something that genuinely makes you happy is really hard. It's really
Yeah.
hard. So a lot of the times when I and I'm not gonna lie, when I was younger, I used to be a bit of a Debbie Downer to a lot of my friends. I would always, say certain things like, "Well, why are you keeping this? Just get rid of it." And oh, you don't need this. Just throw it away, that kind of thing. But I'm saying these things from a perspective of me not having an attachment to this. I don't know what kind of an attachment this person has to this thing, and I'm telling them to throw it away, you know? So a lot of the times, like nowadays, I'll say, if this makes you happy, just hang on to it, man. But if you're in a money problem, stop buying. Just
Yes.
just 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 hang on to what you have, and enjoy that entertainment in the meantime.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely great advice. Like I'm in a part of my life now where I don't have as much time to game as I once did.
Yeah.
Um, just because, things get crazy at work, and we just went through this move. We have the dog, and it takes time. And yet when I just walk through the game room, like even if I have like 10, 15 minutes, I'm down there to get something, I'm in the bunker, it just makes me feel good to look at those things.
Yeah. And a lot of times,
Um,
like sitting there looking around, and a lot of the times, I don't know if you do this. A lot of times, I don't even play the games. I just come in and I just sit in silence and I just relax for a bit, and maybe I'll pop in a game or two. But a
yes.
lot of times, it's just being around the collection I built is cool, and then every now and then I'll just pop a game in.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like I have a ritual where, um, in one part of the game room, I just have my retro magazine collections, art books, new types, and I'll just put on some video game music, maybe have a drink, flip through an old EGM,
Mhm.
flip through an art book, and just kind of have like that moment of nostalgia without putting the games in.
Yeah,
So
I've actually started doing that too, actually. You actually got me into the game magazine or the game book thing. So I've actually been buying kind of like giant books. Remember that book that I bought, those three books that I bought, they're like Nintendo Switch collecting.
yes,
I've been
yeah.
buying a bunch of different hardcover books like PlayStation 1 and NES this, and I've been flipping through that, having a drink here late at night and just relaxing. It feels like this is, and I keep bringing this up. I guess it's like a thing now. What I'm having an image in my head of is like that, or I guess you can call them aristocrats back in the day, where they'll sit in a room surrounded by all these books and they'll have a drink and a nightstand. It's kind of like that. It's like,
Yeah.
but they're video games on a bookshelf. You're having a drink on a nightstand, but you're just kind of enjoying just this kind of solitude, I guess. It's really
E
interesting. We've
yes,
become the old man
and
gamer.
yes, and that started, like, for me, like, 5, 6, 7 years ago where I started to do that. Um, a little hint if you like this stuff is, of course, you gotta import it now, but maybe you could find it floating around eBay. These, Japanese books called perfect catalogs for each system.
Oh
So it'll be
man.
like
Okay.
Super
I'm looking
Famicom
right now.
perfect catalog, and it just basically goes through, has a picture of every version of the console, every peripheral, and every game by year. And so
Wow.
you can kind of walk through the whole history of a particular console. They're really, really good. Of
I'm looking
course, if you could
now.
read Japanese, they'd be better. But you know, Google Translate camera mode is very helpful. But you don't necessarily need to. I mean, it's just you're like going through literally every release. So that is pretty fun. But, I thought, we could, take that moment to just, in addition to the books we're reading, talk about the games we're playing, and I wanted to touch on this because you posted something to the Discord. You had said that you found 5 games on the PlayStation
Oh.
5 that you think are worth buying, and of course, when you find 5 games, you buy the console. So, what are the games? What's the plan? Are you
Yes.
on
Okay.
board with the PlayStation 5?
Okay, so I'm finally yeah, so I have this thing. I don't buy a new console unless it has at least 5 games that I want to play on it. And I actually, let me pull up my Game Eye because I actually have a wish list on Game Eye. I found 11 games that I want to play. So,
Wow.
I was like, okay, yeah, it's probably time to grab this. Now, this is the weird thing. I don't know if it's because PlayStation 5 is like I I guess a lot of people, well, it's the current console. That's probably why these games are so cheap. They're like $25. There's a few that's like $30, but that's about it. So anyway, let me go through this list and I won't waste your time. So I you guys already know I got Slitterhead. I ordered
Yes.
that. Um I added Warhammer Space Marine 2. That looked
Okay,
pretty
interesting.
interesting. That looked okay. I just finished that what was it? Terminator 2D Fate game. By the way, we're gonna have to
Oh,
talk about that.
really?
We're
Okay.
gonna have to talk about
That's on
that.
my
Okay.
list. Yeah.
Yeah, I just finished that game. So I remember there was a Terminator first person shooter game that came out. It was called Resistance. So I added that to my list. I also added Stellar Blade, um, Silent Hill F because it looks interesting, but we'll see. Silent Hill 2, another game from Idea Factory called Scar Lead Salvation, which is basically like an anime dungeon crawler shmup hybrid.
Okay.
Um, a mech tactical RPG called Relayer. I remember seeing that on the PS4, and I forgot to grab it, so I figure I get it on the PS5. Ghostwire Tokyo and Astrobot. And then
Okay.
the last game hasn't come out yet, which is the Suda 51 game, Romeo something. Romeo deserves to die or something like that.
Huh.
I think that's what it's called. I don't remember what it's called. Oh, Romeo is a dead man is what it's called.
Okay.
So that is the last game. So those are the
You've never
games that I want
played
for my list.
you've never played Ghostwire Tokyo on any other console?
I didn't know it was on any other console.
Oh, okay, 'cause it was on Steam, and I think it was on something else, but
I
I'd be
just
very
remember it.
curious.
I just remember it being what isn't KG Inafune? No, not KG Inafune. What's that guy's name that made Resident Evil? He's the one that made this. That's the only thing I know about it.
Yeah.
It's the guy who
I
made Resident Evil and the Evil Within.
can't think of the name.
I forgot his name, but yeah, that's his development studio, Tango Gameworks, went out of business, and that's the last game they made. So I'm like, let me grab that as soon as I could.
Well,
So,
I wanna hear your opinion of it when you do play it, 'cause I got that, I wanna say day 1,
hmm,
and I found it a little tedious.
okay, yeah.
I
Once
found it
I
to be
play it, I'll let you
kinda
know.
like a walking simulator, but I definitely need to go back to it.
Okay.
I think I downloaded it for free on PC, so maybe I'll give it another try, on my newer
Oh,
PC.
so it's on PC.
Yes.
Hmm. Is it cheap?
Uh, it is well, the Steam sale is on now.
I haven't
Ghostwire,
I haven't entered Steam in years. It's been a long time since
it
I.
is currently $15.
Oh, that's way better than the 25. Yeah, I'll give it a try.
Yeah, I
I'll
just
give it
want
a try.
I feel like maybe I need
I mean,
to go back to it, especially now that
oh
I've,
wow, Steam looks
traveled
pretty now.
there. Yeah. So
Steam.
I
Okay.
gotta take a look at this winter sale a little bit more closely, even though the
Uh,
holidays have been, all right, so the question is, when are you getting your PlayStation 5?
all right, so that is the kicker, right? I don't really know, and the reason why I don't know is because there's still other games that I'm focusing on right now. that I want to get for that I need to finish getting for the Switch, that I need to finish getting for the Genesis, and I think that's it. Yeah, because I was planning to get these last two games for the Vita, but then I went on Play Asia and realized that there's limited editions on Play Asia that was way cheaper, so I don't need it anymore.
Okay.
So that was good. So I just ordered those. I'm just waiting for them to show up. Um, and I think I've been debating on kind of going back to PlayStation 4, but something in my gut is telling me to stay away for some reason, and I don't know why. So I'm gonna listen to my gut because it never lies to me. So
Okay.
it's mainly just Sega Genesis right now. I'm focused on Switch, and I think that's it. Yeah, I don't think I need anything for my Dreamcast. PC Engine, the last game I got, which was what was it? The metal game? Mad Stalker.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah. I think I don't really know when I'm gonna get the PS5. I'm gonna keep my eye on it. I know the price is probably gonna spike because I'm only looking for the one with the disc, and I
Okay.
don't want to get one without it. So yeah.
I think Amazon for a while had the PS5 Pro at $100 off,
Really?
which yeah, it's 650 versus 750.
Okay.
And it doesn't well, I guess the PS5 Pro never had the disc drive, but the disc drives are now available pretty readily because I picked up a disc drive this summer in Japan thinking like, "Oh, one day I'll get the PS5 Pro." Uh, but then I found when I came back, like, the disc drives can be easily acquired.
Remote. Yeah. Okay, so I'm looking at the Ghostwire Tokyo game. Sale ends January 5th. So that's good. Um Wait, Silent Hill F is on here too? Wait a minute. Okay, so hold on. Wait. I'm confused here. So is do I need a PS5? Cuz wait a minute. Do I need it if these games are on here?
Yeah, well, I mean, you want the physical editions, right? So
Well,
you
that's
gotta
true. That's true. Cuz I can yeah, cuz I'm looking at Ghostwire. I'm looking at the trailer kind of and I'm like, man, I would really love to just own this cuz it just I don't want to do the digital thing. This game looks awesome. It looks awesome, but
yeah,
looks can
I
be
like I said,
deceiving
I
nowadays.
maybe I didn't give it a fair shot. So I feel like I was maybe expecting something else, but, yeah,
you
maybe I'm
know,
gonna go back to it.
it kind of looks like an updated version of Mach X to me. I don't know if you ever
Interesting.
played that on the Sega Dreamcast. It
I
was like
did
a
not.
it was like a Shin Megami Tensei first person hack and slash shooter. It's really good. It's really good. I was playing
Yeah.
that for like 3 months straight. I was trying to beat that game, but then I found out there's like five endings, and I was like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah, this game looks okay. Yeah, this will be the next game I buy. Let me see if it's on Amazon. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
so
gotta
I got my 5 games for 11 games for PS5. I just need to find out how I'm gonna get a PS5.
I don't know, I think that, is pretty tempting, the Pro for 650. That's I mean, it's a lot of money, but I you may not be able to get it again after the holidays are over.
Yeah, I don't expect to get um a console. Is it? Wait, are you talking about the 1 terabyte?
Uh, let's see. It
I
doesn't
s-
say what the
oh
storage is.
PS. Oh, I see what you're saying. PS5 Pro console. But does
Yeah.
this come with the disc drive?
I don't think any PS5 Pros come with a disk
Because
drive.
because they have one. If you click disc, they have one. It's a PS5 Fortnite holiday bundle with a disc drive for 449.
Yeah, but that's not the Pro version.
Yeah, I don't care about that. I
Oh,
want the
okay.
disc. I just want the disc. I just
Okay.
wanted this. Well, wait, what's the difference between the Pro and the
Well,
regular
the
one?
the the Pro can, it has, upscaling, some kind of, like,
Oh,
PlayStation
okay.
exclusive upscaling. It can supposedly run games
Okay.
consistently at 4K 60. It's the ultimate PlayStation 5.
I see.
And
I
it's
see.
actually 2 I'm reading the specs here, 2 terabytes. And in a different world, like, I would have gotten this, I would have sold my PlayStation 5 and
Oh, okay. So
put
the
the money
Pro.
towards the Pro,
Okay.
but the PlayStation 5 was a wedding gift, so I can never kinda get rid of my original PlayStation 5,
Right, right. I see what you're saying.
and
Okay.
after moving and after some holiday expenditures, I can't do 650, but
Wait.
yes, that's the one I would go with.
So the disk drive is $80?
Yep.
Wow. That's a that's a wow. Okay. I forgot how much this stuff costs, man. It's a lot. Okay. I'll keep it on oof, man. Let's man, 650 plus the disk drive. That's 700 bucks.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Oh,
the
that's modern gaming, guys.
well, I and
Play
of
games at a
course,
premium now.
yeah, the premium version.
Hmm.
Although in fairness, like the PlayStation 5 regular has, I think, aged really well. It still feels
Like a new
like an
console.
awesome, yeah, like an awesome console. And then, oh, did you see this edition? Like, if you want the racing wheel and Gran Turismo 7, you're looking at $1,153.
Good thing I don't play Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I love a good Gran Turismo game, but I haven't played a Gran Turismo since 2? That was
Oh, wow.
1997, I think?
You never played 3 or 4?
Nope. Nope. I think I you know why I never played 3 or 4 is because by this time, after I played 2, I discovered Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, and
Okay. That's a great
that
one.
game, yeah, that was, like, the racing game for me, because it feels like an arcadey racing game. Gran Turismo feels more like a simulator, you know? But I think I was more into the arcadey feel. I definitely gotta
Yeah,
grab
I
this
mean,
Ghost Tokyo game, though, that's for sure. Gonna grab this
yeah.
now.
Well, if I were you, I would give 4 a shot. PlayStation on the,
Okay.
old school PlayStation 2, like, it was one of their better efforts. I mean, 5 was good on the PlayStation 3 as well, but it's a pain in the ass to install. There's so many updates and things, it's like, to me, the that whole infrastructure ruined 5 and 6, but 4, I think, is still a classic. 3 arguably is the better game, like, from a driving perspective. I don't know, there was something about 3 that just felt better, felt snappier, but 4 has, you know, such a great list of cars.
Mm.
And if you play them on what is the, PlayStation PC emulator? Forget what it's called.
A PlayStation PC emulator.
PS PSX, what is it called here? PSEX, something like that. If you Google it, you'll find it. I could have sworn I had it on this computer, but I don't. Uh, awesome upscaled,
Hmm.
and can play right off the disc, if I recall.
Okay.
So
Wow,
that's
this
my little play.
sucks. So Ghostwire has 2 different versions, apparently. There's Ghostwire Tokyo, and then there's Ghostwire Tokyo Deluxe Edition. And the
Okay.
deluxe edition comes with, do I need this stuff? Oh, it's the Game of the Year version. No, what is this? Ghostwire Tokyo game. Oh, never mind. Oh, it just comes with outfits. They made it seem like it came with DLC, but why is it $100?
Holy crap.
I Yeah, I don't understand why it's $100. That's the only thing, and it's the disc. I have to do more research on this before I buy it.
Yeah.
That's crazy because the original base game is like $20. So why is this one 100? All right. Okay.
Well, I got the base game. I'm just logging in here. Hope I'm logging in here to the Epic Game Store. I believe I got it for free on one of their sales.
Silent Hill is on sale. Okay. All right. That's enough shopping for me, or window shopping, before I
Uh,
end up buying something.
well, it gets very dangerous when you and I window shop.
Oh my god. We should turn this into a
And
stream one
and
day.
it's funny. Oh crap! I actually started Ghostwire Tokyo. I got to figure out how to stop this.
Technical
All right,
difficulties, everyone.
technical difficulties. Okay, closed it. So I apologize to our listeners if you heard the intro to Ghostwire Tokyo. I have rarely used the Epic Game Store, but yeah. So anything else you've been actually playing? You got your wish list
um,
going, but
well, so for the wish list and for games I've been playing, so I got my physical copy of Crow Country, which was like a PS1 horror inspired kind of game. I played it for a bit. I think that game's pretty cool so far. It's like playing like a creepy PS1 Resident Evil clone or survival
okay.
horror clone, I guess you can call it. That's pretty good. Um I feel like I got more stuff. I just haven't been able to play it yet. Um I did get my hands on a copy of Metroid Dread. I haven't played it yet though. I want to
Really?
play it. Yeah, I was gonna get Prime 4, but I don't know. After looking at videos on it, I just kind of it doesn't look like something I would enjoy for some reason. It just doesn't look. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a grumpy old guy, but it just doesn't look like a Metroid game I would have fun playing. Um, but maybe you might be able to tell me something different because I know you have it.
I haven't. I've been playing it, and to me, I think my first reaction was seeing it 4K. Actually, I shouldn't say 4K. I played it in the performance mode, so 120 hertz, 1080p, HDR. Like it looked like no Nintendo product I've ever played. It just the polish, and that's why I said it almost felt like I was playing a PS5 game or a PC game. So it's a unique
Very nice.
experience from that perspective. Uh, it is, I was never like the biggest fan of Metroid Prime. I enjoyed it. I thought it
Mhm.
was creative. I thought it was a fun take on the Metroid formula. And to me, this gives me more of the same. Now, some people are complaining like, "Oh, it's not really doing all that much different except giving you the bike and kind of the open world hub area."
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I don't see that as a downside. Like, I do get the fact that the engineer guy that follows you is annoying, and some of the dialogue is pretty cringeworthy. Like Metroid is, you're the silent protagonist. You don't need to be chatted at. I get it. I mean, it doesn't necessarily ruin the game for me, even though I wish it wasn't there. I think
Mhm.
it's it's one of those things where I'm having fun with it, but I'm not like completely hooked on it. I don't feel the need to lose sleep to play it to the end. I'm just enjoying it in chunks when I
Oh
have time.
no. It sounds like the game that you play for a little bit, you eventually say, I'm gonna put this on the shelf and play it again tomorrow. And then tomorrow turns into like 4 years. That's what it
Yeah, I
sounds
mean,
like.
I, I don't want to dismiss it because listen, if I didn't have all this different stuff to do, I probably would have played through more of it. So to me, it's
Mm,
not like a disappointment, and I think it's a solid effort. But I don't know. I would say that if you were waiting, because like this game was launched, I think when the original Switch came out.
right, right.
So they mentioned it. They had their first trailer, and to have it come out all these years later, I mean, was it worth the 8 year wait?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not.
It's
Nope.
yeah, but it's not really a bad game at all. It's
Mhm.
it's a nice effort.
Oh, before we forget, the other game that I've been playing was that Terminator game. I said I
Yes.
wasn't gonna say anything until I finished it and I got on a podcast and spoke about it. All right. I do want to talk about this game because I was really really hyped for this game. And this game is it's not bad. However, it's very mediocre for
Interesting.
yeah, it's very mediocre for Bitmap Bureau, which is like the guy. Well, you know what? No, I take that back because Bitmap Bureau made what, two games, which is this and no, I think they made more, but the two games, the other game is they made Xeno Crisis, so it's those
Oh,
guys.
okay.
Um, it's it's not that it's a bad game, it just feels very mediocre. It feels like I know a lot of other YouTubers are like, "This game is amazing. You get to play all of the levels from the movie and all of this and this." And I was just kind of like, "Yeah, they are right. It does follow the movie like, point by point by point. It does do that. However, because it does that, it can't get creative with its level design and I hate it. It's it's just a bunch of straightaways. It's very boring. And it's like and the way I can tell you is like it's just going from point A to point B in a straight line. That's all it is and there's like not a lot of there is some opposition, but it's just so easy that it's crazy. So I'm happy that they gave you like a bunch of like difficulty increases, which is fine. And it makes the game harder, but it doesn't escape from the fact that the levels are very boring to play through to me. Um, there's a level in the game which is you basically I mean it's the level where you've seen Terminator 2, right? Of course. I
I
think
was
everybody
going to I was gonna make an admission here. I've never seen a Terminator movie.
have you are you serious?
I'm very serious. Never
It's
I've
so
never
weird. I
seen
don't believe you.
I've never seen Indiana Jones.
I've never seen
Uh,
Indiana Jones. I would admit that, but I've seen a Terminator movie. But
okay.
okay, but, like, it's really it because it's following the movie verbatim, it the level design is very, very bad. Um, and no, it's not that it's bad, it's very basic. It feels like a person who just started in level design started doing level designing. This is their first game.
Wow.
That's the only thing about this game that is not fun. Well, no, there's a couple of things. That there's that part that's not fun. Enemy placements isn't really fun either. And then there is like this whole thing like you can't run in the game. The characters do like a slow walk. So that's kind of annoying, but you kind of get around that. Um but I did beat the game multiple times and got all of the multiple endings. But it wasn't really fun to play. Like the first time I played through like one or two levels, I was like, "Oh, this is good. It looks like the movie." And then you feel like every time you beat a level, the level feels like the last level you played, even though it looks different. It just feels like it's just walk from here, go all the way to point B, which is basically to the right, and you win. And I was like, "Oh, that's kind of boring." Occasionally there's a boss, but all the bosses are easy. So I was just like, "Okay." And the only reason why you would play the game multiple times is to see the different timelines. That's basically it. Because the game gives you that kind of option. You can change things in the past that affect the future. That's about it.
Huh.
Yeah. But other
That
than
is
that, I man, I would not I hate to say this, man. I you have to be a really big Terminator fan for me to recommend this to you. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody.
and
I hate
it's
that I'm
interesting
saying
because
that.
it's quite expensive. Like, I'm looking at it on Best Buy, and I guess it hasn't quite come out in physical form yet.
Wait, how much is it?
Um, so it's 60 for the base game, like the standard edition,
Okay.
and then day 1 or the collector's edition is 120.
Whoa. I don't remember paying that. but maybe I did.
and it
I don't.
comes with,
It
like, it
doesn't.
looks like this metal
Yeah,
case,
it doesn't come
a
with
coin.
anything worth it. It doesn't come with anything that's worth it. The day one edition, I mean, because that's what I have. But man, I'm gonna be honest. I would not pay $60 for this game. I would
Okay,
pay. This feels like a $30 game to me. It feels like a $30 arcade game where and I hate to say this too. This is the other thing that kind of bothered me. It didn't bother me as much until I got to the end. But you don't really play as the Terminator. You play it's a Sarah Connor game. So you mostly play with her. Well, how do I say this? Well, it flip flops a lot. If you play as her, and occasionally you'll play as John in the future, occasionally. And then if you change
okay.
one of the endings, then you play as Sarah in the future, but it's mostly a Sarah Connor game. It's not a Terminator game. Well, how do I say this? It's a Terminator game, but you don't play as him. You only play as him in like one part, and that bothers me. It really does
Well,
bother me.
I don't know, I was curious when I saw this because obviously, the vibe was interesting, the aesthetics were interesting, but since I never saw the movie, would I be bothered by the level design? I'm not sure, but I think see,
Well,
that's why we talked to you, right? Because you've got the insight. I heard a million different reviews from the standard
yeah.
kind of YouTube personalities, and no one mentioned that.
Yeah, and they all love it. That's the thing. Is like I said, the game it's not bad. It's not a bad game. It just feels very basic to me. And like I'll put it like this. Do you remember all right, I'm gonna picture yourself going to your favorite video store, whether it be Blockbuster or some mom and pop shop. You
Yeah.
don't get exactly what you're looking for, whether it's like a Streets of Rage or a Castlevania game, but you get a game that is a knockoff of that game. It doesn't play like the original, but it's close enough that it gets you there. It feels like that. It just feels like it feels like it's not not that it's not finished. It just feels very mid. That's the words I can use for this game. It just feels very mid, and I think if other people play it, they'll understand. Like 'cause like levels are and I'll paint you a picture. Let's say you start at point A and it's on the roof. You run all the way to the right and there's stairs. You go down the stairs and now you have to do that same route all over again in reverse. Now you're running all the way to the left and then you take another set of stairs and then you run all the way to the right and then you take another set of stairs and run all the way to the left until you reach the exit. And I was like,
Ugh.
really? And most of the levels are like that. And then but there's like enemies sprinkled in, and then there is like and this is why I say I feel like the game was made by someone who's never done level design, is because like enemy placements are not like they're placed where you can learn an enemy pattern. They just kind of come out of nowhere and you get shot even if you try to jump over beams or trying to jump over bullets or roll under bullets, you're going to get hit. So you have to kind of like die a couple of times to kind of prepare. It feels like a Nintendo game for sure. But it like I said, it's just the level design, enemy placements that bother me about this game, and that's about it. And I think for a person who plays video games a lot, I think another person who plays video games a lot and knows these kind of things, they're probably gonna get annoyed by it.
Well, that is the review I wanted to hear. So, you know what? It's $30 on Steam, and
$30
maybe
is what I
I'll.
would pay for it. I would pay
Okay.
30 bucks for it for sure.
All right.
Yeah,
So
but
I may go that route.
yeah, it's definitely a Saturday morning. I didn't get my Streets of Rage game, so I rented this instead kind of game.
Well, I think that's says all we need to say about it, right? I think that's a
Yeah.
perfect way to, those who grew up in the era that we did know exactly what kind of a game it is.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's Brawl Brothers.
All right. Well, for me, obviously, I just talked about Metroid Prime 4.
Mhm.
And for me, the only other games that I've been playing, old N64 games on the brand new Analog 3D. So I
Wait,
was able to get one.
what games? Like Jet Force Gemini or no, didn't you get
No,
F-Zero?
I just got F-Zero X and Wave Race, just
Awesome.
because those are two games that, well, in the case of Wave Race, that may have been the first game I ever played on the N64.
Nice.
Maybe. I have like this competing memory of the first game being Mario 64 in a buddy's basement when I went back to my old hometown during that Christmas that the N64 was out. I also remember playing Wave Race at a friend's house in the town that we moved to, and it was both around the release, so I'm not sure. But Wave Race was one of those games that kind of wowed me initially. And what
Mhm.
I realized going back to it is very hard.
Yeah, to stay
And
within the
I,
buoys and all that stuff, yeah.
yeah, and the controls just are not like the controls that you would expect in a modern racing game. It's like you have your accelerate button, but it's very hard, like hard to brake, but to do the sharp turns, you hit the shoulder buttons, but they also accelerate. So there's this way
Mhm.
to get into a rhythm and create this like slalom through the buoys, and it was like, I mean, I remember it being a challenge, but I'm like, holy crap, is this game difficult? But looks great, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. But then F-Zero X, that's a game that I may have played once back in the day. Some friend may have had it. I never played it, or I never owned it.
Mhm.
And then I only ever played it in emulation forms on RetroArch, and I appreciated it, the upscaled version of it, but I hadn't played it in maybe 7 or 8 years. And going back to it, playing it on not original hardware, but this upgraded hardware with the overclocking, I mean, it is an amazing game. I don't know if you're a fan of it, because I think we like the one on the GameCube too,
Yeah, I like them both. I think they're
but
both really good games.
I think my takeaway on the Analog 3D is it's the first of these consoles that has allowed me to see a level of detail and fidelity within a game that I didn't know was there.
Mhm.
So we were talking about on the Discord, like, do you turn the deblur feature on or off? And our
Oh,
buddy
you mean
Oscar over
the
in
that view where it makes the games look like Vaseline was smeared over your eyelid?
yes, and And I mean, obviously, like, that was a strategy that they used, back in the day, like an Oscar, our buddy over in Tokyo was saying, like, but a lot of that is what made the N64 what it was. Like, that
Mhm.
was part of the aesthetic. And Apollyon and myself were saying, like, yeah, but it's great to turn it off. Like, you're seeing into these games, and you're seeing a fidelity that is just lost playing on a CRT. And when I set up kind of like my retro portion of the game room, one of the first consoles I played was my original N64 on the CRT.
Mhm.
And just kind of like going from that to this is pretty eye opening. So I've been playing those two games, but it was basically testing the whole back catalog. Played the original Smash Brothers, and I hate Smash Brothers. It's really not one of my favorite games.
Same.
But again, seeing it 4K with like the really good scan line features, and running at a smooth frame rate, I could appreciate it a little bit more. And I didn't have that feeling like when I got the Pocket, and as you know, I love the Pocket, and I had to buy two of them. And I love the Duo, the Analog Duo, and those systems look great. But to me, they didn't show me a level of detail that I didn't know was there. Like if you play these games on RetroArch, you've got the look, right? I've been emulating PC Engine since the days of the Magic Engine emulator, which you actually had to pay for back in the day. So I was just like, yeah, like it's cool to have a system that could play the original hardware. It looks good, but it didn't show me anything that I didn't know was there. That's what the analog is doing. So
Nice.
I'm definitely I even ordered a one of those flash carts. One of the issues with the analog is it doesn't work with like EverDrives easily. but there's one flash cart that it does work with, and that was something called the Summer Cart 64.
Hmm.
So, and they're relatively cheap still from, uh, where did I get it? Alibaba or AliExpress. It was about 45 bucks. And I'm really looking forward to loading up the entire ROM set on the N64 because I don't know how you feel about this, but when you do have access to the entire library and you could just click from game to game, you discover things about the console that you didn't know back in the day. And
Yeah,
you
for
get
sure.
like a different overview. It happened to me with the Neo Geo, right? Like I played the Neo Geo in the arcades. I couldn't afford one at home. But when I started emulating it, and when they started releasing those compilations to like play through all of the Art of Fightings, one after the other, and you're
Hmm.
just appreciating the beauty of the 2D art that the Neo Geo could do. Like that was a view of the system that you couldn't get back in the day. And I'm excited to see how the entirety of the N64 library hits me rather than just these individual games that I have.
Super nice.
So,
I need you to get a copy of Star Fox just to see what that looks like.
oh, that is one of the games that I played.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Okay.
I have Star
How was
Fox.
that?
So that's another Nintendo game that I don't like. I was never been a fan of Star Fox.
Oh my gosh, I
It's
love Star
actually
Fox.
one of it's actually one of the few games on the console that has an issue. And
Oh, that's weird.
apparently, like, not so much in gameplay, but when you load it up, it has like this dark screen. Like it has just like a black background, and the menus are, in different colors, and it looks staticky. And I
That's weird.
originally thought like, oh, my game is,
Faulty.
I don't know, yeah, faulty. I got to clean it. I cleaned it. It was still there, but apparently it's like one of the few. I don't know if you'd call it a compatibility issue, but one of the few bugs in the console.
Okay.
So, but it plays well, and I think that's one of the things that I pointed out on the Discord was that playing the N64 games like with a an actual thumbstick that works
Mhm.
is also game changing. And actually, Star Fox was a game that I did it on. Like, I don't like Star Fox, but I played through the first couple of levels, and using the controller that they're selling alongside of it. I forget what it's called, 8-bit do 3D controller. And I'm like, oh, I was never that great at Star Fox, but I'm blazing through this game. I'm having like one of my best playthroughs ever. And I'm like, okay, like the next day, hey, let me see if I can clean the card again, see if I can get the static away. Of course, that didn't work, but I'm like, let me play it with my original N64 controller, and I could barely get past the first level. Where you got to like shoot the robot in the back,
Right, 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 right.
and I would just my thumbstick must really be dying because I couldn't get the precise aim like I could on the brand new one. So I would say that this is definitely has been definitely worth the money.
Okay.
Even though I'm not the biggest N64 fan,
Yeah, me
I don't.
neither, but I've played games on it, but I'm not a fan of it either. But the
Yeah,
N64 is like that. It's a weird console. It's like you either have nostalgia for that console or you've played an N64, but you like, yeah, but I'll pass on it, you know? It just has that kind of pedigree.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think so. Mario 64, I think, still holds up really well as this great experiment in what a 3D gaming experience could be like because it was really one of the firsts. I mean, it wasn't
Right.
necessarily the first because I had played other games like on the PC that were quasi 3D. So I wasn't going straight from side-scrolling SNES games to this, but I could still appreciate that this was kind of a revolutionary moment. But when you exit that game and like you pop in, say, Banjo Kazooie or the Donkey Kong game, it's
Mhm.
like, these kind of crude 3D collectathons that, yeah, they're different from what I'm playing on the PlayStation. They're obviously different from the versions of these games on the SNES. But to me, like if I had a choice, Donkey Kong Country versus Donkey Kong 64, there would be absolutely no question. I'd go with the SNES game.
Mm.
So, but I haven't played everything. Like I haven't played Sin and Punishment.
That's
I
a
haven't
good
played a lot
game.
of. Yeah, a lot of people played Gauntlet Legends. Like they really
Yep,
talk about
that's another
Gauntlet
good
Legends.
one.
I've never played
Mhm.
that. I've never played the Beetle games. The driving games. Apparently, a lot of people like that one. The snowboarding game, 1080 snowboarding. So I want to go and actually discover some of these for the first time.
You're gonna have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean that's kind of my plan for the holiday season.
nice.
And I still have to get through. I mean, I haven't even like scratched the surface of all the import games that my wife brought back in November. So I'm trying to convince her to, allow me to quit my job so I can, really play through the backlog. So far, the answer has been no.
Yep, this is my job, babe. No.
Yeah, I was trying to tell, like, if I could just play all these games and think about how good the podcast would be then, 'cause the YouTube channel would really blow up. But no, she's not having it. So mortgage is the enemy of Mario. Tell you.
Nah, I don't want to talk about mortgages.
Yeah. So that's on my radar, but I'm looking forward to seeing what games I get over the holiday season because I actually can't remember what I put on my wish list.
I
So I
have
will
a
be
couple.
surprised.
I have a couple on my wish list, but I think I'm done until next year. I got the last two games that I really really wanted for the Vita. I got them on the Switch. Well, three games. I
Oh,
got them on
what
the
what games
Switch
were
now.
those?
So I saw that. So there's a game on the Switch that I regret kind of selling, and I sold it in a moment of 100% pure anger, and I kind of regret it. It was a game called Hyper Devotion Neptunia Noir. No,
Okay.
Hyper Dimension Neptunia Noir. Right? I think that's what it's called.
Yes,
But
yes.
it's basically a tactical RPG version of Neptunia on the Vita. I found out that it finally is getting a release on the Switch. I knew it got a re-release in Japan, but this was around the whole tariff situation, so I was kind of keeping my eye on it. So I canceled my pre-order, and I wasn't sure if it was going to be in English. That was another reason why I didn't buy it. But I found out about a couple days ago that it's getting a re-release on the Switch, so I pre-ordered it. Um, and then at PlayAsia, the other two Neptunia games that I sold on my Vita, I saw that they were selling for $60 for a limited edition, so I just bought those. Which was Hyper Dimension Neptunia. It's
Okay. I think
something
I have that.
3. I forgot. I forgot. It's something re something 3. But it's basically the one where you play as her little sister and not her, not Neptune.
Okay.
And I bought another Neptune game that was a limited edition. They were both $50, so I was like, yeah, that's cheaper than what it cost on the Vita, because on the Vita it was like $100 plus for each. So I just bought those two. So those are on its way coming.
Well, you're gonna have to report back in January to see what the actual tariff damage
Yeah.
was, because I know PlayAsia will tell you up front, "Hey, this is your tariff cost, and don't worry about it."
Yeah, and I saw that they added an extra cost to it.
Okay.
And it looked like it was about 15 to $18, but I'm gonna keep my eyes open just in case some delivery service is like, yo, you have to pay for this or you have to pay for that. So hopefully I don't. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't actually ordered anything since they dropped the tariff, or sorry, since they started the tariffs.
Yeah.
Since that news dropped, I have not imported. I mean, like I said, thanks to my wife, I did get some import games, and I've been buying, like the two N64 games were Japanese versions, but I got them from a US seller. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
you gotta let me know because like I don't mind if Players is going to charge me $26 or something, and I put together a big order. Like I'll bite the bullet, but I have heard bad things about some of our other sources, so I will not
yeah.
be
I
reaching
heard
out to
something
Japan.
I heard something really, really huge about one of our sources over there, and it was not good. That tariff was high. Let's just
Yeah.
say that. So, hopefully this one isn't as bad, but I'll keep you posted what I'm going to have to do at some point because I canceled a couple of pre-orders in Japan because I was just too afraid of the tariff. Um, what I'm gonna have to do is somewhere later down, maybe in March, tax season. Um, Probably make an order to our special store in Tokyo, and
Okay.
hopefully, something small and affordable. And I'll take keep my eye on that tax that tariff.
Yeah. Well, see, I'd be curious to know. Like, I heard the rumor that if it's under $200 or under $100, then it could be marked as a gift.
Ah,
And I was thinking, like, if there's like one game that I really want to go with, I may reach out to that same store in Tokyo and just be like, oh, if it's under $100, like, see if they'll mark it that way.
okay.
But I'm not sure.
I doubt it. I doubt they're gonna. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Cause let me see. What's on my list that I need to import? I need to get. Let me see here. Let me just clear out these filters, dude. This wish list app on Game Eye is amazing. Uh,
I've never tried the wish list.
it's really fun. I like it. It keeps everything kind of in order. Oh, I actually have to go through this because a lot of this stuff I already have. Um, Wait. Oh, wait. I think I got everything that I needed. Oh no, there's one more game. I have to get a copy of this game called Trillion: God of Destruction on the Vita. But see, I'm afraid that like because the Switch is basically a glorified Vita. So it's getting all the Vita games, and
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for them to get this one last game, and if they do, that'll be great. But we'll see. I have one more Japanese game I gotta get, and it's Truxton. So we'll see how much that's
Okay.
gonna run me.
You mean like the Mega Drive Truxton?
Yep, yep.
Wow. That's a heavy hitter.
Yeah, that is a heavy hitter. It's either Truxton or Star Parodier on PC Engine. It's one of those two. Those are the only two.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah,
I know, I know.
I'm trying to look at like, import releases that we're looking forward to. I mean, I think it was you who posted like 8-bit music power for the Famicom.
Oh, right. Oh, that reminds me. I got to test out that adapter for the Famicom on the Retron. It works. It's amazing. If
Yeah.
anyone is listening and you got that adapter, well, Amazon sells an adapter for the Retron that lets you play Famicom games.
Yeah, it's
It
the
works like a dream.
Hyperkin. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
It's
worked well.
great.
Like as soon as I fired up the two Bomberman games that
Yep.
my wife brought back, I was like, "Damn these tariffs!" Because if
I'm not
I
gonna
would have
yo.
been I would have
Yes,
been
yep.
ordering a million Famicom games.
Oh my god. And I sent you that video of that Japanese collector that collects all the
Yes.
Famicom. Oh my god, the colors of cartridges all over his oh man. I was like, "Yep, down another rabbit hole I go."
Yeah. I would have been all over that.
Yep,
Um, I
same.
want to I want to go back now, and just because Famicom games are in many cases dirt cheap over there.
The one game that I'm looking for on Famicom is Shatterhand. If I can get that game, I don't know what it's called in Japan, but I need that game.
Wow. For me, I've always liked YY World. I always thought that was kind of a
Mhm.
clever game. It's like a Konami
Yep.
swap out the characters, side-scrolling game. So I mean, that one would be on my list. Uh, just like all the stuff that we never got here. I would just be all in. But then again, I do have all of these games on the Analog Pocket. Like, that's what people have to remember. It's like, even if you're locked out of importing these things, uh, you can still play them. Oh man, I'm on one of our sites here. There's a
Don't do it.
PS5
Don't do it.
Mega Man Star Force Perfect Collection. I've never played these. This kind of looks like what was those? Like Battle Network Mega Man, but
Mhm.
sort of Updated. Oh, okay. All right. I can't get started.
I'm
This is
already
not going to be
looking up
good.
Shatterhand on the Famicom. It's too late. We're here. It's too late.
Yeah.
Super Rescue Solar Brain.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to play Shatterhand tonight on the analog.
Give it a try and let me know how you feel. And I bet you money that after you play it, you're gonna say, "I need this game. I need this." I'm trying to see what it's called in Japanese, and it looks like it's called Tokyo Shure Soroburen.
Huh.
Ooh, Super Rescue Soul Brain. I need this.
Huh.
Okay. All right. I'm going on a I'm gonna have to look at some stuff.
Don't do it. Don't do it, my friends. Don't fall.
Next year is gonna
All right.
be it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I think maybe in the January episode we should sort of take a look at the import releases that are upcoming. And I think that's gonna be questions like what do you bite the bullet on as far as okay, I'm gonna import this no matter what, and what do you wait on?
Yeah, we should definitely do that. Definitely.
Sounds good. Well, I think we covered a lot of ground this episode.
Yeah, I think we did too.
So we want to we'll sign off now. We want to wish everyone the happiest of holidays
Yep.
and enjoy some gaming and enjoy some importing. We will see you in 2026.
All right, everybody.
Take care.